Language and Style in Internet Communication, a Cognitive Perspective. My report discusses linguistic and cognitive characteristics in Internet communication and shows that cognitive, creative, and other innovations in language and style of Internet communication are promoted mostly by its cyber-semiotic origin. Special attention is focused on the role that Internet communication plays in social and cultural life and its future. Digital technologies have provoked and produced an unprecedented quantity of new terminology as well as neologism and similar creative linguistic, semiotic, and cognitive innovations in Internet communication. Intensive evolution of the cyberspace and the Internet is now unstoppable, making the linguistic and cognitive interpretation of its language and style more sophisticated. For example, there is a number of names and terms for the innovative technology of combining objective and virtual reality. They are mixed, blended, mediated, augmented, enhanced reality. Such terminology cases are common nowadays and linguistic and cognitive comments, and perhaps innovative ones, because there are similarities and commonplaces between them, and we can't demand that people should use only one term and don't use others. The next point is that the most important one, and particularly in a social perspective, is that cognitive and linguistic innovation in Internet language and style testify not only to the effect that creative technologies create linguistic and cognitive innovations, but also that they have an impact on the contemporary society as well. They demonstrate that the cognitive and the social are more intimately connected than it is commonly supposed. Internet communication is the most innovative and technologically advanced way of human interaction. It operates with various diverse and innovative signs, symbols, markers, figures, graphical objects, built into the operational software systems that constantly improve their navigation instruments and thus introduce new and more effective semiotic and multimodal characters, hyperlinks, for example, that are becoming more universal and user-friendly. Thus, the initial cognitive distinction of Internet communication is its growing semiotic character, that is, its, to some extent, deverbalization. The second, no less important cognitive distinction of contemporary Internet communication, which also promotes its deverbalization, is the bias towards visuality and visualization of digital information flows. The unprecedented progress in web cameras and their installation almost everywhere and their interconnection deverbalize information flows and make them language free and thus internationally comprehended. Both leading tendencies in Internet communication, its growing semiotic quality and predominance of visuality in information flows, have as their foundation the cyber-semiotic character of digital technologies that promote a new trend of cyber-semiotic convergence of verbal and non-verbal in communication. This trend demands that the human mind has to develop a cognitive habit of an immediate transfer from processing of visual information to processing of verbal information and vice versa. Cybersemiotics is based on transdisciplinary theory on information, cognition, consciousness, meaning and communication, whose author is Søren Brier, and his work under this titles Cybersemiotics, what it is, was published first in 2008. Solemn reassures that the innovative and cognitive character of Internet and language and style are predetermined by their digital hardware and programming software. The innovative nature, digital technologies, and their unlimited perspectives in information processing cannot but provoke and instigate innovations in human intelligence, cognition, consciousness, behavior, language, and all other human activities. One of the most vivid manifestations of this new trend of cybersemiotic convergence of verbal and non-verbal is an unprecedented quantity of innovations in the Internet language and style. Cognitive innovations in the Internet language and style are diverse, creative, intellectually charged, and cover all possible elements of communicative interaction, discursive activities, textual genres, and modes of expressing one's own ideas and intentions. One of the most vivid demonstrations of such innovations are new words and notions that refer to new objects, subject, events, situations, and facts that appear to the Internet communication itself, and in its linguistic means in particular. You see a number of examples concerning directly the linguistic means in Internet, and the most characteristic are the various types of naming Internet stylistic characteristic: net stylistic, Internet stylistic, online stylistic, cyber stylistic, net linguistics, hyper-textual, non-linear, interactive stylistic, block stylistic, etc. It's only about stylistics and its language and style, and just to show the dimensions. And that is why more and more linguists, psychologists, cognitologists, and other specialists make Internet communication the object of their study, and publish a lot of papers concerning new signs, events, etc. in Internet language and style. The most important and prospective social characteristic of Internet language and style is the freedom of communication, interaction, and expressing of one's own mind and opinion, as well as the opportunity of displaying one's own creativity. The very idea of giving any human being the opportunity to leave a comment, an immediate comment in Internet and express his own opinion is absolutely new and absolutely unprecedented in the history of communication as a whole. That is why many specialists believe that the Internet has become a generator of a communication revolution that not only erased differences between oral and written speech, but produced vast varieties of creative means of communication, occasional humorous, ironic, sarcastic, and other expressive linguistic and semiotic communication innovations. These communicative innovations have become, among other things, the way to transfer the creative and cognitive into the linguistic and social. The most illuminating phenomena in this respect are such innovative creations as texting, textism, and textiquette of SMS messages. They make a text shortly compressed, expressive, informative, and more effective, and thus have a cognitive background and have a lot more other characteristics First of all, they are more semiotically oriented and the verbalizing communication. So, texting, textism, and textiquette have introduced a vast variety of new linguistic and semiotic rules of compressed messaging and new forms of interaction. They include a vast variety of principles of compressing messages and make a lot of other operations over them, such as orthographic abbreviation, contractions, phonological abbreviations, acronyms, initialism, clipping, shortenings, semiotic homophones, combined letter number homophones, smileys, typographic symbols, omissions of punctuation, apostrophes, capitalization, etc. Excessive use of punctuation or capitalization for expressing emphasis, repeating letters to mirror lengthening, accent stylizations, inanities, neologism, nonsensical transmogrification of other words. And there are a lot of others, and this shows an unprecedented creativity of internet language, which cannot be compared to any other language usage. While some linguists consider texting and textism to be a vandalism, others believe that internet linguistic and semiotic innovations reinvent language, promote its meta-linguistic realization, recreation, and make many other cognitive operations. The most authoritative internet linguist, David Bristol, who has written a lot of books about internet language, in his famous book of 2008, named The Great Debate, qualifies, and it was published in this way. Qualifies textism as a language of play, plurality of literacies, language evolution, etc. Contemporary cybersemiotic language and style of internet and digital communication, besides stimulating the readers' and writers' linguistic, creative, and cognitive activities, demand intellectual efforts, habits, and practices, and thus give rise to a new kind of literacy, the cybersemiotic literacy, which no doubt influences traditional writing skills and rules. Writing rules are always evolving. We knew about it before internet, but internet makes this process more intensive. For example, in Shakespeare's time, there were grammatical and writing rules were not established yet. That is why Shakespeare himself wrote his own name in 6 different ways. And now when people say that why should we write this way but not that way, why they write in internet this word shorter than we write on paper, are not, doesn't mean that they are absolutely right. Perhaps writing rules will change. And perhaps we will see how traditional writing rules begin to evolve under the influence of the digital communication of cybersemiotic literacy. Digital communication has initiated the cybersemiotic literacy and textism that can be exemplified by the following traditional text as opposed to NetSpeak, as David Crystal called it in his book of 2001. The first phrase is a normal one, and the second is its translation into the cybersemiotic writing of Internet. Internet language and style permanently evolve and thus acquire new names and qualifications: electronic language, e-writing, e-language, e-style, computer-mediated communication technology, etc. The arrival of NetSpeak is showing us homoloquence at its best and create an area of huge potential enrichment for individual languages. Thus, human versatility, creativity, and research for novelty have not been inhibited, but rather instigated by the electronic technologies in a linguistic perspective, and I support this opinion. I think my personal opinion in this respect is that the most the language of the Internet is developing so fast and vast because digital technologies, digital gadgets and computers for the first time have 2 or more keyboards, and we have very many symbols. We have an opportunity to combine them in various unexpected, innovative combinations, and these combinations may express something. We may express our ideas through combinations of different symbols, not by combinations of words of an alphabet, but combinations of words and symbols, words and figures, and etc. And this is, I think, the starting point of the development of Internet language and style. Intellectually judged, Internet language and style promote evolution of social communication. They shorten the distance between the communicators, unite them into social communities, make social interaction less formal, and so on. But the most important social benefits introduced by Internet is its interactive and creative power, which makes the human feel more independent, knowing, confident, self-sufficient, and active. Another no less important Internet social benefit is its unprecedented feedback, which is now improving all kinds of social relations and make them less distant, official, or autocratic, and impersonal. The perspective of promoting all such gains is to establish contact between various social, cultural, educational, professional, etc. Internet communities and blend them into an independent of political parties and their ideologies, Internet electronic society, with prevailing horizontal connections, and thus free of all kinds of pressure, deprivation, and manipulation. And there are very many at present scholars who pave the way towards building such an interactive Internet society with government absolutely inside internet control. So, in conclusion, I want to say that the main idea of the report is thus that innovative and evolving cybersemiotic character of digital information technologies provoke new cognitive abilities and habits in the human mind that transfer the cognitive into the linguistic, social, and cultural. The most important social innovation that is generated by this transition is the possibility of blending interactive internet social community into active, open, creative, and self-sufficient internet societies, void of all kind of manipulation, dependency, and pressure. The most important cultural and social characteristic of internet communication and its language and style is the freedom of speech, which has as a cognitive background the cybersemiotic origin of digital technologies, which in their turn promote human cognitive and communicative creativity. Thank you very much for your kind attention.